What's up, lads? Welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor, and this is the Crypto Empire Sunday live stream. I hope you're all doing amazing. Be sure to smash that like button as we do get this one started. We were live, I believe it was Friday night when the market was selling off. The market was in extreme fear, and I was live telling you that we were going to bounce, that it's not the time to be scared, and lo and behold, we bounced. So let's talk about what's going to happen next right now and start off like we always do with our crypto market overview. Shout out to Fiat Hater, first person in our live chat today, always nice and early and supporting in the live chat. Big ups to Fiat Hater, my man. We also got Dennis, as well as Bavriona and Rigoberto Chavez Jr., Declan Wyatt. Guys, be sure to smash that like button. Great to see a lot of familiar names right now in here today. Now, looking at the Crypto Bubbles Top 100, a lot of green out there, guys. A lot of green out there. Looking at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, we're still in fear. In our last live stream that we did, right? This one just here, talking about the relief bounce 2 days ago. At the time, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index was at a 22, and that was extreme fear. We're still in a fearful market. A lot of people are, very bearish right now, and I'll talk about my stance on things and what I see happening next right now. But we're still in a very fearful place in the crypto market overall. A lot of people are very confused about all the price action because we've had a lot of manipulation over the past few weeks, right? We had that big crash on October 10th, 10/10, and that's when we had that massive $19 billion liquidation crash. But anyways, looking at liquidations today over the past 24 hours, things have kind of cooled down a bit over the weekend. If you guys haven't noticed, the market loves to pump on a Sunday, and that's kind of what happened today as well. But anyways, over the past 24 hours, we have seen $316 million liquidated from the market. Pretty balanced ratio between longs and shorts right now, so pretty uneventful in terms of liquidations. Anyways, let's get into these charts, guys. So as you can see from the title of today's live stream, I talk about the weekly candle close, saving the bullish structure here. And if you guys were in the live stream that we did again just 2 days ago, talking about the relief bounce that we have had, right? We called that perfectly. But we were discussing how this swing low from the 1st of September was very important. And essentially my stance on things, what I said, and I still stand by that, was the weekly candle has to close above the swing low at $107,200. And what happened with this weekly candle close? The candle closed, 2 hours ago now. Just 2 hours ago, the candle closed well above that swing low. All right, we had the close come in at $108,600. So the market makers effectively saved the weekly candle here, saving bullish structure for now. All right, so all of the doomers out there, people calling for way lower, I do think that there's a good chance we do trade lower again into November. But for now, I think we're going to continue to pump up. All right, and let's talk about how high I think this rally may potentially go. Again, guys, if you're just joining in right now, the weekly candle was effectively saved on Bitcoin. It needed to close above the swing low from the 1st of September at 107,200. And it did just that. It did just that, lads, okay? So bullish structure is still intact and it is saved. Now, in terms of what's going to happen, by the way, we were calling all of these moves live inside of the Crypto Empire Mastermind, guys. Right, should see a relief bounce into the weekend when price was still 105. So, I mean, we called all these moves live inside of the Crypto Empire Mastermind, guys. You have to be inside of the Crypto Empire Mastermind. But anyways, let's talk about what's going to happen next right now on the Bitcoin chart. So, overall, price is still above 100K. On the weekly, we still have higher lows intact. So yes, it is kind of scary with these big drops. Altcoins are getting tarnished, but Bitcoin structure is still bullish actually. Now, are we going to pump to a new all-time high? I doubt it right now. I don't see a new all-time high coming for Bitcoin. What I do see happening though is a move into resistance. Now, if we look at this chart, Where's resistance, lads? It's right up here at around $116,000. All right, this was where we saw a rejection after the big flash crash, right? Price rebounded to 116. We got sent back down to like 102 over here. Now, at 116, there's multiple reasons I think price is going to make its way to this level here. First of all, on the daily time frame, we have a 2 times bearish hidden order block. All right, it's hidden behind not 1 but 2 fair value gaps here. All right, so that's one reason that this is a major level that I think price is going to come to, and it's likely going to reject from here. But we're talking one move at a time. All right, so the next move I'm looking for is for price to come up here to 116. So that's one reason. On the 1-day time frame, we have the 2 times bearish hidden order block. On the 5-day time frame, there is the same hidden order block, basically, slightly different price levels, but this is at 115,900 to 116,400. So on the 5-day and the 1-day, there's a 2 times bearish hidden order block at 116. Also, what we want to do is if we pull a fib here, let's say we want to go to our Coinbase spot chart. Here's that hidden order block again at 116. But if we pull a fib from the low up here to the high, we have the golden pocket, the 618. Not perfectly in that level. Right, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close to that 116 level. So it is possible. What I'm essentially looking for is for price to come and likely wick into the golden pocket here. But as long as the price does not close above the bodies of these hidden order blocks, that's a bearish rejection. Okay. So again, for anyone just joining in right now, low is put in. The weekly candle was saved because the weekly candle closed above the swing low from September 1st. I'm looking for a move into 116, 117 now. And if the price does close above these bearish hidden order blocks, that's a very bullish sign. Personally, I'm leaning towards a bearish bias and a rejection from 116. And then likely a low to be put in sometime in November. And that can get ugly. Right, that can get pretty ugly, but we're not going to talk about that yet. For now, we're just looking for this move into 116, and that's what to expect now into the end of October. Okay, so that's BTC, lads. Let's go look at Ethereum. So on ETH, similar kind of market structure here. Similar market structure here to Bitcoin, where we didn't go and fully fill the wick like we did on BTC, but still we retraced down here to $3,680 on Ethereum. And we've had a nice rebound over the weekend. Right? The weekly candle here on ETH again has resulted in, not too bad of a close. It did close beneath this swing low from the 18th of August, which isn't a very good sign. So these lower levels are still open. But here in the meantime, what are we expecting? Well, similar on the 5-day, right? On the 5-day, we do have this bearish hidden order block here, hidden behind 1, 2, 3 fair value gaps. So this is a pretty strong 5-day level on ETH. And if you guys are subscribed to the channel, you've been paying attention, you've been watching, these hidden order block levels, supply and demand levels, like they work extremely well. So this is not stuff that we want to ignore. We want to definitely take note of this. We want to mark it on our chart, and we have our bias in place. Of course, we need to be fluid, right? We can't be too rigid in our analysis, but the bias here is simple. All right, the weekly candle closed mainly on Bitcoin. It was saved, but of course, ETH is going to follow Bitcoin. So we're looking for a move now into resistance. All right. And that is going to be at around $4,300 on Ethereum in this 5-day bearish hidden order block, hidden behind 3 fair value gaps. All right, and this is from 4,300 essentially to, it's basically $4,300 we want to look for ETH to move into right now. Again, 5-day bearish HOB. Just above, there's 1-day supply, like 4,400. So maybe we wick into that. but don't close above that 5-day level. But in general, we're looking for a move now on ETH up to $4,300. Personally, I'm not expecting a big breakout here and this thing to fly to new all-time highs. I do have somewhat of a bearish bias where price is going to come up here to resistance. And personally, I'm expecting a rejection from there. And I'm expecting things to get ugly in November, leading to a low to be formed. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking for here in the immediate short term. That means we're going to see a lot of bounces further on alts. It means that when we start moving up here, right, when ETH is up here to 4,300, when Bitcoin is back up here to 116, we're going to see all of the idiots on crypto Twitter flip bullish again. You guys have to understand that like crypto Twitter and X, it's like the lowest common denominator. Yes, there are very good people there. There's very good analysis there. But in terms of the numbers of people that are giving their opinions on crypto Twitter, the amount of people with good takes is very minimal. And the issue is a lot of people are following so many different accounts on crypto Twitter. Right? A lot of people are getting all these different varying opinions that the good ones are drowned out. All right, so remember, crypto Twitter is usually the lowest common denominator. So when we see Bitcoin and crypto in general pump back up here into the end of October, fully expect them to flip max bullish again. And then when we see that and we see price and resistance, I'm going to be looking for a short basically for new lows into November. That's kind of my general bias and my general plan right now as we do progress here into the end of the month of October 2025. Guys, be sure to smash the like button. Smash that like button, everyone, and hit the subscribe button if you are new here. We will be getting into a lot of Q&A and looking at your guys' altcoin requests as we do get in towards the latter stages of today's live stream. But for now, I want to go through the things I want to go through before we open up the floor to Q&A. But with that being said, I appreciate all of your guys' support. And again, smash that like button. So, just before the weekly candle close, we had some news talking between Trump and China, saying that President Trump says that Chinese President Xi Jinping is open to a trade deal. All right, so this whole Black Swan event that happened on October 10th was a Trump tweet about tariffs. Very manipulated, but that was the causation for it to the uneducated people about how markets work. But anyways, now just before the weekly candle closed, they say some good news about the U.S. and China to make everything okay, basically, and to pump the markets a bit right before the candle closed. So more manipulation at play, but we see through the matrix here at Crypto Empire. So the charts tell all before the news comes out. Also going forward, so BitMine is still buying up Ethereum. So despite Tom Lee warning the treasury bubble may have burst, BitMine has quietly accumulated $1.5 billion in Ether since the crash 10 days ago, or 9 days ago, depending on where you are in the world, on October 10th. So proving it's still betting big on Ethereum. Guys, remember, BitMine is backed by Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel wants to basically control 5% of the Ethereum supply through BitMine. So Tom Lee is really just like the figurehead, but there's way bigger powers that be behind BitMine and these moves being made, and Peter Thiel is actually behind this. So most people overlook that detail, but that's a pretty important detail. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. So Coin Bureau has basically pivoted to a news account. But anyways, they say over $100 billion has flowed back into the crypto market in the last 10 hours. Again, just before the weekly candle close, $100 billion has flowed back into the market. Of course, we can just look at something like the total market cap chart to go ahead and see that, we went up from like 3.5 trillion up to like 3.6.5 trillion. But anyways, we can also look at Coin Bureau's tweet to tell us those same details. Moving on now. So some more bullish news about Ethereum. So Huobi founder Lee Lin is going to launch a $1 billion Ethereum treasury company. So there's already SharpLink Gaming, They have several $1 billion of Ethereum in Ethereum treasury backed by, or controlled by Joseph Lubin, Consensus CEO. There's also BitMine, and now there's going to be another Ethereum treasury company from the Huobi founder, right? Huobi, big tech company. So all of big tech is betting big on Ethereum, and they're accumulating large amounts of Ethereum coins. Again, for anyone that's new here to the channel, my stance is basically that Ethereum is going to be a large part of the digital control structure that's going to be rolled out into 2030, and yeah, it's gonna stay very relevant, despite what people say about Ethereum on crypto Twitter, that it's dead and all those things. Anyways, one more piece of news right now. So the U.S. is rolling back on tariffs on products that cannot be grown, mined, or naturally produced in the United States. President Trump in recent weeks has exempted dozens of products from his so-called reciprocal tariffs. All right, so he's rolling back a lot of the tariffs right now, again, which is all bullish news that came in right before our weekly candle close. Again, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any important videos or live stream updates that we do here on a regular basis. All right, let me see what's going on here in our live chat. Shout out to Charleston on Clay. He says, first time. Love your style and thought process. Pulled most out 8 hours before it crashed. DCAing back in. I had a hunch and sold. I'm thinking Bitcoin, ETH, and Doge. Yeah, those are solid picks. He said, learn my lesson. Scared of alts now. So that's an interesting point, right? Charleston says he's scared of altcoins now. I think most people are scared of altcoins. The market makers, the powers that be, the manipulators that pull the puppet strings, they have effectively made people either completely bored of altcoins or just scared to buy altcoins. That's a very true thing right now that a lot of people feel. So with that being said, when most people start to... Because remember, at the beginning of this cycle, all cycle long, you have all these people coming into crypto thinking that all they need to do is buy altcoins and they're going to be rich and they're going to be able to retire and never have to work again. That was the general consensus going into this bull run. Well, what happened here? The opposite a bit happened. Of course, select altcoins have done extremely well, right? Coins like Tau, for example, still holding very strong. Coins like Zcash, right, doing very well. Beautiful crypto style pump, right, from $30 up here to $230, right? So some alts have done really well. Monero not doing too bad. But anyways, in general, a lot of the coins retail bought, a lot of meme coins, whatever, expecting to be able to retire, get rich, and never have to work again. That plan didn't work out. All right, the market makers, they had different plans. So now that retail is scared of altcoins and bored out of their positions, and most retail is thinking that altcoins are total scams, it's the perfect storm for them to finally do well, basically. And this is also coming at a time where quantitative tightening is ending. Quantitative easing is going to begin, which is basically, very easier times for the markets when the Fed balance sheet isn't being restricted and selling assets. It's actually buying assets globally. So that's all the perfect storm and the perfect recipe for altcoins to actually finally do well. I think it's going to take some time. Again, I wouldn't be in a hurry right now to buy coins. I think that the better buy is going to come in November. And really, I'm expecting altcoins to do good next year, Chinese New Year 2026. I'm going to have to make a video explaining that, but just mark Chinese New Year, February 17th, 2026. Mark that one on your calendar because that is a very interesting time right now for the markets. But anyways, in regards to Dogecoin, so the same analysis is going to apply here. Okay, remember our bias on Bitcoin is we pump to 116 and then likely get rejected. The bias on Ethereum is we pump up to 4,300 and then likely get rejected. So all these coins are going to be very similar. That means on Dogecoin, It means we could very likely pump up here to like 23, 24 cents, which is our monthly open for October. All right. Everyone again would be flipping bullish here. We're so back. Bull market's back on, everyone. Only to then see likely a rejection. And I think we see Doge come down some pretty brutal prices. But, you know, for now, bias should be to the upside, at least here in the short term for the rest of October. Now, another thing to note, let's go to the 3-day here on Dogecoin. Again, Dogecoin loves the wedge patterns. When it's bullish, it will do a falling wedge. When it's bearish, it will do a rising wedge. That's just kind of how it works here on Doge. But we haven't had a retest of this falling wedge breakdown yet on Dogecoin, guys. We have not had a retest. So I would be looking for Dogecoin, again, to pump back up here to resistance. I mean, maybe it does make its way all the way back up here to supply at like 24, 25 cents. Maybe it retests this trend line break. But I don't think this thing is just going to recover market structure and then like pump back up. I'm not expecting that to happen. Short term, I'm bullish for these assets to pump into resistance, and then I'm expecting a rejection from there, and the actual low to come in sometime in November. All right, I think the better long, the better buy will be next month. For now, we have short-term bullish momentum into resistance. My bias is we reject off of it, though. All right. Let's see what else is going on here. Shout out to Dreman100. Shout out to Dre. What's good, Dre? We have Perush. He says, you are the GOAT. Thank you, Perush, my man. Big ups. Big ups. Give it all up says, good morning. Good morning, lad. How are you? Green Chili Pepper. Happy Sunday. Rigo says that Powell rate cuts are going to save us. That's actually a good point, Rigoberto. That's a very good point. Let me pull up our Forex Factory calendar. Because, guys, remember, the U.S. government's been shut down. The U.S. government has been shut down. So a lot of economic data hasn't been coming out. So there hasn't been a lot of talk about rate cuts. Also, we do have CPI coming in, which is inflation numbers this Friday. All right. And then let's see. Also, you see this notice, U.S. government data may be impacted by the shutdown, right? A lot of data isn't being talked about. But on Wednesday, October 29th, we have FOMC, which is the interest rate decision. So because of the U.S. government shutdown right now, a lot of the forecasts and a lot of the data isn't being talked about. So maybe they throw a whammy out there and, you know, cut rates by 50 basis points or something like that. Maybe, maybe not. We don't really know. But yeah, this is definitely something to note. And this is going to come in right before Halloween and right before the weekly candle close and the monthly candle close, right? Friday, October 31st, Halloween, is the last day of October. So again, I'm bullish right now into the end of the month, into all these big economic events. I'm expecting prices to go to resistance, but I'm expecting a rejection from there, and then some lower prices in November. But yeah, Rigoberto, good point there. Let's see. Denise0423 says, I hope we dip so I can re-enter and buy more. I would have patience right now, man. I would not be in a rush. I would not be FOMOing. Things are going to get pretty bullish, I think, into the end of October, at least seemingly. Again, I'm expecting crypto Twitter to start going nuts when Bitcoin starts making its way back up here to 116. But my personal bias is that we see a rejection and then a better opportunity. We can see Bitcoin. I mean, we can see this thing hit the yearly open at 93, lads. Don't be shocked in November if we do see it down here. But again, we're taking it level by level, step by step. And the next step we're looking for is this move on Bitcoin up to like 116, which is a 7-8% move up higher from the current market price at 108,350. So again, have patience right now. No FOMO. I think there's going to be way better buys in the following month. Shout out to Lebert. What's up, Lebert? Did you bite or just nibble? Says Treble Baby. I mean, look, Treble, all things considered, not doing too bad. 15 cents right now. Still well above launch price, well above IDO price. But in general, suffering the consequences of a not bullish altcoin market. Base in general has just been getting shafted. All base coins. Doesn't matter what it is. Right, Miggles, whatever, Keycat. Where's Ski Mask Dog? I mean, Degen, Wrecked. Tashi is not doing too amazing right now either. Right, nothing can hold a pump on, especially on base. Here's Ski, right? This thing pushing to new lows. So, yeah, all base coins really struggling, and they're all just really getting shafted, coming into some interesting levels of support, right? I mean, at this point, I think that Ski is likely going to fill this gap down here, sub 10 million market cap. Again, with that low that I'm expecting in November. But yeah, remember, guys, there's the base coin or the base token that's going to hit the market probably next year. Probably going to be a big base airdrop. So we're just seeing all the base coins just get wrecked and go to extreme discounts. And again, this is how markets work. People are going to give up on them at the bottom. Then the base airdrop is probably going to hit. And we're probably going to see base coins outperform. That's just the game. That's how markets work. So keep your eyes on them. And I'll be sure to let you guys know whether it's a live stream or whether it's a regular video about base projects when I think they're bottomed out. But as of right now, it's looking like Ski. It's in weekly demand, but I mean, maybe it does actually end up filling this gap down here, sub 10 million market cap. And yeah, we'll talk about that another time when we want to specifically talk about base projects. Maybe I'll make a video on that this week. If you guys like that, hit the like button. And if you want to see that video and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stick around. I want to talk about Tau because our analysis on Tau has just been on the money. So I want to give you guys an update on that. Shout out to Las Vegas Lady 83. What's up, LVL Lady? DCA and now, again, bias is short-term up until the end of the month, but I think the better buy will come next month. So up to you if you want a dollar cost average. Shout out to Adrian Kent. Shout out to Eric Royston. Shout out to Semi 187. We'll look at Aster in a moment. Somebody asking about Ski Mask. We just looked at Ski Mask. I actually didn't even see your question. But yeah, I would say a good entry would be like, man, at this point, I think it will fill this week. We have a weekly fair value gap, right? This is the weekly chart. Real quick, I'll just go through this. So, first of all, massive weekly bullish hidden order block inside of this fair value gap, right? So, the buy for Ski Mask that I'm seeing here is 12 to 10 million market cap. And there's also a 6 million maybe. But yeah, it's lower. It's lower. I would have a lot of patience at the current moment in time. Anyways, let's go look at Tau again because we made this Tau video last week, right? Talking about the Tau price action. And we very accurately called this sell-off with price into resistance up here. I said don't have any FOMO. At the very least, you want to wait for $350. Where did price come to? The low came in at 341, but we had that 1 day bullish hidden order block level at 347 to like 338. Look at the wick, lads. Look at the wick. Look at what happened here. If you just waited for that 350 level instead of FOMOing at the highs at like 460, which is what a lot of people were doing, like go look at the comments from this video real quick. I don't want to rag on anyone who comments on my videos, right? Some people giving credit, right? Spot on that 350 level. Cheers, lad. Let's give him a comment back right now, live on stream. Cheers, lad. That's what happens when I comment back on your comments on my videos, right? That's what it looks like live. Let's see, this guy. He says, I decided to FOMO into Tau at $435. He said, because Bitcoin will not revisit 106K. This was 5 days ago. He said, Bitcoin will not revisit 106. And we'll see an all-time high on Tau or whatever. What happened? Well, he FOMO'd at 435 on Tau. So from 435, it dropped 21%. So he could have saved himself from a 21% drawdown. He also said Bitcoin would not revisit 105 or 106, whatever he said. Well, Bitcoin actually went down to 103. This is why you guys got to be subscribed to Crypto Empire, man. You can fade me, fade my analysis. Did you really fade the Crypto Emperor? Come on now, lads. You're better than that. I hope you didn't. But anyways, back to Tau here. Smash the like button. Again, that guy could have saved himself a 21% drawdown if he just listened to the analysis on the video. By the way, all my videos are not financial advice. Sometimes I am wrong. I'm a human being, okay? I'm not right 100% of the time. I'm not perfect. But you guys know if you watch the channel on a regular basis, I am right more than I'm wrong. But if he would have just waited, he also could have got himself a nice 23% gain. All right, so this is why you cannot fade the Crypto Emperor, aka Mr. Aura, aka Connor, aka myself. Anyways, what's going to happen next for Tau? Well, we're back in supply. All right, you can see a move up here on Tau to like 450, 460, rejection on the 12-hour. Ultimately, there is a massive level on Tau. I mean, we're going to take this swing high, the previous week high. $480, guys. So ultimately, what needs to happen on Tau, by the way, I would not recommend shorting a second tap of supply, right? When it comes to my system trading supply and demand, as a general rule of thumb, the reason I was saying Tau was going to drop here was it was the first move into this supply zone, okay? You want to look to trade the first move. You want to trade the supply and demand zones when they're fresh. So over here, last week, when Tau moved into supply up here at like 460, it was a fresh supply level, which is why I was so confident it was going to reject from there. Now it's no longer a fresh level. It's coming in, it tapped it for the second time. So generally speaking, you only want to trade the first tap of supply and demand. Because after the first tap, the level's no longer fresh. So that's why I was not looking to short a second move up here. All right? Anyways. The level on Tau now is 480. $480. The daily candle has to close above $480 at this point. If you see a move up to 480 and a swing failure pattern, I would be extremely cautious. That might warrant a short, another short. Again, we shorted up here. We caught this move. We covered at 350 perfectly. But yeah, if we do come up here to 480 and have a bearish swing failure pattern, maybe that will warrant another short. We'll be watching this. But as of right now, on Tau, my bias is My bias is I still think things will follow the overall market. So I don't think Tau is going to decouple from Bitcoin here. So if we see Bitcoin pump up here to 116, which is what I expect, and then a rejection, I'm going to be watching to see what happens with Tau. Okay, because if it does come up here to 480 and reject, that could warrant we see Tau back in some much lower buy zones. But we're going to take it step by step, level by level. For right now, I would just watch for a move into $480 at the top of supply. And then look for signs of weakness up there in the lower time frames. But my general bias on the market is going to be my Bitcoin analysis. And again, I'm expecting it to pump and then dump, basically. Pump to 116, dump lower, probably underneath 100K. And that dump under 100K likely going to come in November. By the way, we haven't looked at stablecoin dominance yet. And we have a daily bullish hidden order block at 4.52% to 4.5%. This one right here, right at the October monthly open. So I'm expecting Tether dominance to move into this level at 4.52%, which is going to line up well with Bitcoin pumping up to 116, 117K. So yeah, it's good to have this one marked on your chart, guys. 4.52% on Tether dominance. Again, this is an inverse correlated chart. So when this thing pumps up, crypto goes down. When this thing goes down, crypto goes up. So basic stuff, but I understand a lot of people are not familiar with this terminology, which is why I want to go ahead and explain things, even though I repeat myself over and over and over and over and over again. I got to make sure everyone's aware and up to date with how these things work, because a lot of people are quite uneducated on this crypto market, so I feel like it's my job to go ahead and educate people on what the heck is going on here. Rigoberto says, what's your timeline for the euphoria phase? I think the euphoria phase for altcoins is going to happen starting Chinese New Year. Hold up. Chinese New Year. February 17th. All right. That's when I'm expecting things to pick up hard for altcoins. And I think we run hard into like Q2 of next year. I think we're finally going to get our altcoin season or period of altcoin outperformance then. And then I think we're going to be cooked for most of next year. But I think good times are ahead first. I think the euphoria phase, Rigoberto, is going to come starting Chinese New Year. My man Satoshi 300 said, Connor just got his hair done. Hey, bro. I took a shower, put a little stuff in my hair, literally the smallest amount, and that's it. But I did get a haircut last Friday. You know, we got to stay fresh out here, lads. Come on now. AMC, hey, anyone think Bitcoin is going under 100K? Not this week. Next month, yes. Shout out to Guts1X. My man Guts, good to see you. Let's see. John Cyprian says, you've got great analysis. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. What do I think about Zora? Zora has been very strong. It's been one of the best coins in the market in terms of performance and strength. With that being said, on the daily time frame here, these wicks are a little bit worrisome. And where are these wicks going? They're going right into this supply zone. Okay, so textbook bread and butter supply and demand stuff, right? So this is 1 day supply. Now, a lot of wicks into the level with no candle closes above the level is a kind of it's not a great sign. So what do I think about Zora right now? This is an interesting chart. So it's in this sideways consolidation. And as per my general analysis that I went over on Bitcoin, Tether dominance, ETH, I'm going to stick to my guns and say the same thing. I think the better buy will come next month. I would not be in a rush. A lot of people buying Zora up here because it's so strong. If the general consensus from retail and crypto Twitter is that Zora is an outlier and it's so strong, I mean, typically they'll just get washed out, okay? So we want to do the opposite of what the herd is doing. We have price wicking into supply over and over and over and over again, unable to close above supply. So it's, I mean, that in and of itself is bearish. What do I think of Zora? My gut tells me that, you know, maybe it does come up here and like sweep these highs again. But at this point in time, if no daily candle closes above 11.5 cents up here, this is all just liquidity grabs. And there's a lot of selling happening. There's a lot of selling happening here. So yeah, I mean, I'll be proven incorrect if a candle closes above this level. As of right now, my gut tells me that it's going to reject and head lower. Probably back to like 4 to 3 cents, to be honest with you, which is like a 50% drop. So I would not be in a rush to buy Zora, personally speaking. That's what I think, looking at this chart. Kino says, is the bull market over? Are we going into a full bear market now? So I still think we're in a kangaroo market. I don't think we got bulls and bears. I think we got a kangaroo. And that's going to continue. So that means we pump up, and then every few months we get a great reset like we just had. Consolidate, pump up again, great reset. It's just kangaroo market out here. Let's see. Someone asked about Epic Chain or whatever, this shitcoin. This is a total shitcoin, lad. I would just ignore this thing altogether, personally. Same thing with TAI. It's just a shitcoin. Same cabal behind both of these. So, stay safe. We got a super chat. We got a super chat from Mikhail Nielsen. Thank you for the super chat, my man. He says, Manu is the most... By the way, real quick, let me just check this. Thanks for that super chat, brother. All right. Manu is the most... Media Shibu with 12 million followers on YouTube. ETHcoin partner. Chainlink. Fund Manu. Matt and RO check chart. Well, not the most grammatically correct super chat I've gotten, but I still appreciate the support here. We'll go look at Manu. Let's blow this up to full screen. 28.5 million market cap. For Manu. So on the October 10th crash, it went right into daily demand. Right on this low. Right into that level. Now it's just kind of in this straight up sideways consolidation here. All right, so I mean, this thing had an epic run up in September into, yeah, an epic run up in September. Okay, it topped at the end of September into early October, and it's been down since. So this was an epic pump, and now you're getting the pullback phase. So generally speaking, after you get an epic pump like this, you're not going to just pump back up again. It always takes time for the market to settle and to digest, which likely means that this thing's just going to chop and slop, as I like to say. All right, so expect some chop and slop. And I think it's probably going to come back into demand again too, at like 20 million. At the very least. Right, so I would say let Manu chop around if you're bullish on this. If it does want to pump back up, because really what you have, this is the daily. Let's go to the 12-hour. So let's draw a range here from the crash that occurred on the 10th of October. Okay, so we got a range. And let's just put our 50% on. Okay, so we have a range here on Manu. So what I was going to say is if it pumps up here into the range high, I would not like FOMO buy. I would only buy here at the range lows or below the range lows. And that's it. Okay, it needs time to digest. Parabolic move, pull back. It's probably just going to chop now for a while, for a few weeks if I had to guess. Glaucus, you should be an elementary school teacher. Well, the thing is, man, I could care less about elementary school subjects. I like crypto. I like talking about finance, the economy, money, things like that. And much of these concepts, man, they don't teach in elementary school. They don't teach in school in general. Listen, I'm a college dropout. I hate school personally. So, yeah. I love to learn. Don't get me wrong. I think learning is needed in life. But I hated school. And I was a great student. I got great grades. I was in the honors college at Rutgers University. I was on an academic scholarship. But I still dropped out. Because I just didn't like this system. Let's see what else is going on here, lads. Somebody asking about XPL. Charleston, would you spot buy Bitcoin or ETH right now? No, again, I think the better buy will come in November. But if you want to DCA, I mean, sure, you can DCA now. Somebody asking about XPL Plasma. Let's go look at that real quick. And Aster, too. So XPL just in this sideways consolidation. Chart has no strength. Even with the recovery we've seen on Bitcoin and ETH over the weekend. It did move up 13% from the low on Friday, but in general, still not great looking. But hey, my overall analysis is we see prices move into higher levels. Right, we're expecting 116, 117 on Bitcoin. We're expecting 3,200 on ETH, which means we probably see altcoins pump up a bit. So for XPL, I wouldn't be shocked to see a move back up to like 50 cents. So we're talking like 20% up higher here. It's very obvious that XPL has resistance at this 50 cent level. right? And again, we can draw a range. How would I draw this range? That wick is so manipulated from October 10th. I don't know. It's pretty like ugly chart here, but very choppy and stuff. Generally speaking, though, I mean, on the 6 hour, you have this supply zone. Let me put that here. Okay. See, notice how none of these candle bodies have been able to close above supply here. Right? You haven't seen a candle body close above supply. A lot of wicks up here. So XPL expected to move back towards 50 cents. As per my general analysis on the market, I would expect a rejection from there. And I mean, maybe this thing wants to continue to get crushed, or maybe it just wants to like chop around and consolidate. But from here, I would look for some type of rally into 50 cents. And then Aster, same song and dance. So this is a big supply zone on the 6 hour. All right, we want to mark that. It's a wick on the 12 hour. So that's a middle time frame level, not really a higher time frame level. So on the 2 day, we have this. This is 2 day supply. Okay, we want to mark that. That's important. So remember how Aster was, ooh, look at this big 5 day. So, I mean, a lot of people want to mark that. Ooh, there's so much fat supply up here on Aster on the higher time frames. Come on, lads, look at this chart. Like, this is just riddled. I don't want to be like a total bear, but this thing is kind of cooked. So look, this is the weekly, and this is the 7 day. Very different charts. So you want to always check the 7 day and the weekly because it's going to give you a different picture. But anyways, long story short, what would I expect on Aster? I would expect price to move into this area. Generally speaking, that's going to be like 165, basically up to $2, right, from these current prices. Don't be shocked if we see a move here. This is likely going to cause a lot of FOMO. Remember what we were saying at the beginning of the live stream, right? When Bitcoin pumps back up to 116, when ETH pumps back up to 4,300, crypto Twitter, which is the lowest common denominator, basically a bunch of idiots giving their opinion, they're all going to flip bullish again. They were all like basically pissing their pants down here, by the way, too, on Friday when who was live on YouTube telling you we're going to bounce. Again, I was. Me. Right? Go watch this live stream again if you missed that. Calling this move in advance. But when we see prices move back up here into resistance towards the end of October, crypto Twitter probably once again is going to flip bullish. And I would be very cautious, as I would expect prices to basically reject. And look, Aster went straight up only. Aster went straight up only. And we know how crypto works. Nothing can sustain straight up only. And usually they get the gaps get filled. So just look at the 4 hour here. I mean, we can look at the spot chart, but look, don't be shocked. I said this as well in my video I made over, when was this? Saturday, I believe I made a video on Aster. Yeah, I did. And I said like 50 to 65 cents is demand. So I would not be shocked to see Aster pump up, trap everyone, and then smoke out all the people that bought up here for a move to 50 cents. Smoke them out. Smoke them out, lads. Let's see. What else is going on? Tau update. We spent like 10 minutes talking about Tau in this live stream already. I'll give you a short summary. Too long didn't read. Tau needs to close above $480. That is a major level. It has to get above. A daily close is mandatory on Tau above 480. If not, as per my Bitcoin and ETH analysis, if it rejects from there, we could see some lower prices in November. So it has to get above 480. Otherwise, be very, very cautious. Let's see. Shout out to Shane, my man Shane. He says he's a bit late. All good, my man. Thanks for showing up. And we got Tanaka showing up as well a bit late. All good, brother. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Smash that like button. Las Vegas lady says that she works in finance and it's scary how broke the average American is. She hears people say they deposited $3 into their bank account so they won't be overdrawn. I hope normies get some money for crypto. Yeah, good point. And again, Trump has already talked about how the tariffs, what are we looking for? Right. Trump has talked about how he's going to basically give like $2,000 to each American taxpayer. And this is revenue from the tariffs. So if you just actually look at what's going to happen, by the way, the tariffs is just a tax. It's another form of tax, right? The end result is the cost is passed to the consumer because the manufacturers just have to raise their prices, which means that the consumers have to pay more money for normal everyday goods. So tariffs are just a tax, okay? So it's the whole psyop that it's great for America, like, you're probably a truck driver from the Midwest who drives a truck all day if you believe that's a good thing, right? You're probably not that educated. Sorry, not sorry. But anyways, Trump has basically said that like each taxpayer in America is going to get like $2,000, like a stimulus check from the tariff revenue. So Las Vegas lady, that's how the normal broke person will get money to buy crypto, basically from a COVID type stimulus. It's coming back again. It is coming back again. But we got to have some patience because it's not going to happen tomorrow. Shane tuning in from 4 a.m. That is some dedication right there, brother. I really do appreciate the support. Smash that like button. Can we analyze Zen Horizon on base? Yeah, let's go look at Zen. So has come back down to 11 here. Let's go blow this up on the full screen chart. So this is a new base project, privacy focused coin. Good fundamentals. I think this one will do well, actually. And, you know, it really wasn't affected at all on the October 10th crash, right? It's basically at the same price levels it's at right now. But this is a new coin, so, you know, it ran up here into the end of September into October. And we know how these charts that do like this big blow-off type of pump typically end. They don't typically end well. All right, and usually they end up filling gaps that they left behind lower. This is just like basic TA, so let's identify those gaps. Right? This is what the fundamental analysts don't know how to do. They don't know how to identify levels of liquidity. This is why you guys have to be subscribed to Crypto Empire, because we pair the fundamental analysis with the technical analysis. Few. Hashtag few. Anyways, 3-day time frame, fair value gap, a lot of liquidity in it as well. So if I was going to buy Horizon Zen, it would be in here. Where's my brush? All right, so we're talking $8.60 to like $7.80. Generally speaking, just draw the 3-day fair value gap. And look for price to come into there, basically. That's what I would look for on Zen. Let's see. Do I think Bitcoin will see a bottom at 102 before going to 116? At this point, likely not. Okay. Again, for anyone just tuning in late right now, Bitcoin, you know, we were calling these moves live inside of the Crypto Empire Mastermind when they were happening on Friday the 17th. And then I went and did a live stream as well, called it live there. So, you know, I got to make sure that the whole entire Crypto Empire community, whether you're just a YouTube subscriber, I got to make sure everyone is well informed here. But anyways, on Bitcoin, no, I don't think we will see 102 before 116. I think we see 116 and then 102. If that's how I think it will go. And likely I do think we'll see sub 100 as well. But for now, we want 116. Shout out to Brasco, bad boy. My man Brasco, what's up, brother? King of Neptune, do you think ancient OG ETH coins like Smurfcat will still have a glorious rally once ETH breaks all-time high? So Smurfcat's actually a great meme. I think Smurfcat's probably one of the better memes that have been created. The issue is that in crypto, the memes that pump the hardest are the supply controlled bundled memes by the cabal, right? Brett, like all the pump fun BS coins, whatever, like they need to be controlled by the cartel to really sustain any pumps, as bad as it might seem. So Smurfcat being an organic community meme hasn't done very well at all. So with that being said, will this do well when ETH pumps to new all-time high? I think it probably will pump, yes, but I don't know how high it will go. But yeah, I mean, Smurfcats, I think, is one of the better organic memes that have been spawned in the crypto world. Like, it's actually hilarious. And the song is legendary, but yeah, I mean, that doesn't relate to a high price. Lad, smash the like button. Brasco Bad Boy says, smash that like button. Wow. I agree. Smash the freaking like button, everyone. Let's go. Let's get some hype in the chat. Energy is kind of low right now. I'm not sure why. Smash the like. Let's get some W's in the chat. Pick the energy up, lads. Let's go. Rigo, Chinese New Year is the end of the bull run. I think that's the start of alt season, man. We got some W's coming in. What do I think of STBL? Shout out to Rigoberto with the fireworks. STBL, basically, the VCs, the insiders, the team, whoever, just sold the absolute piss out of it. So here it is now. Moved lower into Saturday and has seen a bit of a rebound. I mean, the volatility is crazy on this thing. All right, the candles really don't look like much, but percent-wise, this was a 45% move. From 7.8 cents to 11.4 cents. Still up 28% from the low that was put in on Sunday. So absolutely insane volatility. It's like a whipsaw. So if you're using leverage on this thing, I mean, it's insane. Very little margin for error. with this level of volatility and these percent moves. So this was pretty classic, right? You had this symmetrical triangle formation here, and it just basically rugged down to 7, 8 cents. As per my general analysis, right, I'm expecting things to move up here into the end of October. So maybe we do see STBL. Like, I would have no hopes and anticipations that this thing is like going to put on some crazy parabolic rally. I would not have any expectations like that. With that being said, I wouldn't be shocked to see it come up near the previous week high, as well as this 4-hour supply zone at 16, 17 cents. So I would have a bullish bias this week into the end of October. Maybe look to play the Monday range. Okay, so depending on how the Monday low forms, wherever it closes, maybe you look on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for a move underneath the Monday low, get long and ride that up here to potentially like 15, 16 cents. But yeah, this thing is kind of like, it's just not shown any strength at all. So if something doesn't show strength, don't waste too much energy like trying to long it and stuff like that, because you need signs of strength. But anyways, lads, what do I think of Clash? George plays Clash Royale. I don't know what that is, man. I don't know what Clash is. Rasco, I'm buried in Brett. It's not looking good. Average is 7 cents. I'm holding lots of FUD. Toshi looking great. Is it worth holding? So I think Brett will probably come back up to 7 cents. I don't think Brett will ever make a new all-time high. I think Toshi will be a coin that does make a new all-time high. Understand that Brett, listen, Crash is a great marketer. Crash is very good at convincing people to do things. But, yeah, with that being said, he's not right 100% of the time. So I think you probably will be able to recoup your losses on Brett if you hold on to it. But I would not expect it to go back to multiple billions market cap. I don't think it will ever. He says it will go to, what, 30 billion or some shit like that. Maybe it goes back up to 1.52, but I don't think it will ever make a new all-time high. I think Toshi probably will, though. So that's what I think about that. Do I subscribe to moon cycles? No, but I have been studying Hurst time-based cycles, adding that to my analysis repertoire. And yeah, I mean, sometimes they line up with moon cycles, but not really, no. So I don't really subscribe to moon cycles, no. But anyways, guys, Aster on Robinhood. Rigo, we went over Aster, right? Mega supply zones from $1.50 to $2. So I would not be in a crazy rush to like buy up tons and tons of Aster. If you want to trade it back up to $1.50, $2, that would make sense. Anyways, lads, we are going to go ahead and wrap up our live stream right now. I do appreciate you all being here. It sounds like they just fired up some kind of grinder or saw next door to me. So I guess it's a good time to go ahead and cut the live stream so I don't have to listen to that while I try and concentrate here on the charts. Anyways, if you're new here to Crypto Empire, hit that subscribe button. Stick around here. Turn on all bell notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Have a great Sunday evening. Have a great Monday if it's already Monday for you. And I'll see you all very soon. And cheers, lads. See you on the next one.